Hey everybody, I'm Adam Shapiro. This is Talkenomics. We are streaming live from Brooklyn, New York, and navigating a layoff. Surviving a layoff in your 50s, it is hard. It is not easy. Even if you're not laid off, try getting a job in your 50s. Those of you who are applying using LinkedIn and all of the tools that you can use, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you in your 40s, get ready, because here it comes. I set up with that because the guest we have on this evening is somebody who's going to change your world when you hear about her experiences. Sheila Hammond worked in tech roughly 30 years. And then in, January of 2024, she got laid off. What she did next was a riot because she has created a successful YouTube channel and she talks about her real world experiences navigating layoff in your 50s and getting back on your feet. Before I introduce you to Sheila, I want to play a clip from one of her most successful videos. It's got 104,000 views already and is climbing, and it's just barely a month old. But it's essentially an open letter to the hiring managers in corporate America. So here is Sheila Hammond.
Over the last year, I was still throwing everything I had at trying to get back into the corporate world. Thousands of resumes were sent, countless hours spent tweaking my LinkedIn profile, reworking my resume, and hiring coaches who told me to sell myself better. Apparently 30 years of experience needed a better sales pitch. But no matter what I did, the result was always the same: rejection, over and over and over again, and each one felt like confirmation that I didn't belong anywhere anymore. The scrambling, the doubt, the sleepless nights. There's one group of people that I have been dying to talk to: the hiring managers of corporate America. Broken systems don't break people like me forever. They piss us off. They force us to fight even when we're running on fumes. And they remind us that if we want change, we've got to do it ourselves.
And Sheila Hammond did it herself. I want to introduce you to Sheila Hammond, who is the creator of Laugh Lines and Life Lessons. We're going to be saying that name because you have got to go to that YouTube channel to see this. And Sheila, I just want to invite people who might be watching us on X. If you have a comment, if you have something you want to ask Sheila, please just put it in the chat on X. But Sheila Hammond, my favorite question, because I've been watching your videos, but my favorite question for people is, how is your life?
Holy crap, just put me on the spot there. I'm trying to figure out which direction do I go. You know what? My life is good. I am a very lucky woman. Life is amazing if we look at it from that perspective. The sauce on my life is lacking. It's a little seasonless, tasteless. I'm trying to make it a little bit more spicy, I guess. But I'm having a blast doing the YouTube thing. I'm having a blast driving Uber. So yeah, that's what I got.
You recreated yourself, but it's not like you just woke up. And in one of your videos, you actually talk about, advice you get, but you talked about someone telling you, be a consultant. And you're like, poof, I'm a consultant.
Yeah.
You had the post-it on your forehead. I mean, you're funny. I don't know. We're laughing with you at just the silliness and stupidity of the hiring process. So let's start from the layoff. January of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? Because I think a lot of people think, I've got all this skill, and you talk about this, I'll just bounce back. And what happened?
Yeah, I've been in tech for 30 years. I have been laid off multiple times, and I never, not once in a million years, thought that I would not be able to find another job. I mean, that's just stupid. That's just dumb. So yeah, I've been looking for over a year now. Now I've stopped looking, in the last couple of months because I've just kind of given up on that and going back to corporate America. But yeah, I never thought that I would be driving Uber. I never thought that at 54 I would have a YouTube channel, right? I never in my wildest dreams thought that my experience would be looked at as a hindrance instead of a help.
Well, and one of the things that your channel has brought to light is people have connected with you. You have 13,000 subscribers and growing.
Isn't that a hoot?
It's wonderful. But it's the key to success, and this is in all the books, is perseverance. and you persevered through this, but it's not as if you woke up the day after layoff, said, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. So,
Mm-mm.
when you started this channel, was it a distraction? What was it? How did you get the idea to do this?
Honestly, everybody says when you get laid off, they're like, you need to upskill, right? Upskill. So I was like, I don't know what else I could possibly learn. However, I have got so much knowledge, not only just the 30 years of what I've been doing, mental health issues I've lived with. I had, like a dynamic career. Uh, I'm aging now. I'm, doing the aging thing. And it just seemed like a real waste to have all of this knowledge and not share it. So what better way to share stuff than YouTube? So I started my first YouTube channel was actually one where I talked about being a product owner, product manager. And I do like these little 7-minute videos on that, right? Kind of teaching, mentoring, that kind of thing. And then I got really pissed off at menopause. And so I decided that, you know what, I'm going to do this channel and I'm going to start talking about menopause. And that's what my first few videos of Laugh Lines were. And then it's just kind of morphed into, let's talk about resilience, whether that's in the job world, whether that's aging, mental health, whatever it is, we're going to talk about resilience. And yeah, so I did the thing. I jumped off. All I had was like a camera and a mic, and I went for it. And I Googled everything. I didn't know how to YouTube. I didn't know how to make videos. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. And I just learned, and I thought, cool, look at me upskilling. Look at me learning new stuff. I am going to become so much more
But
valuable.
but here's the deal, and you've had HR people reach out to you on the
Yeah.
channel. What are they telling you? Because I experienced, the reality that basically this is how I describe it to people who are younger. At 50, if you got a good thing going and you can hold on to it, hold on to it, because at 50, forget your skill set. For a lot of the hiring world, you are invisible. What are the HR people telling you?
HR is not your friend, first of all. Always remember that HR is not your friend. HR works for the company. They care about making sure the company is safe, and that you don't sue the company. But ageism is real. Ageism is absolutely real. And if they have a choice between someone who's got 30 years of experience, like moi, or someone that's just out of college, they're going to probably pick the kid that's just out of college because they're cheaper and they don't really stand up to you as much, right? They're not going to question things as much. Corporations say they want someone strong, someone that has a perspective, someone that can push the business forward. But every bit of evidence I have is to the contrary
Yeah.
of that.
Have, have have any of the HR people though just bluntly said to you that they use the algorithms and AI to scrape the resumes, and that they are actually diverting the resumes of people who are deemed overqualified, code for too old?
They will comment on videos and say what she says is true, but they've not ever come out and said that I can remember in the comments. What I have heard most often is that they will never see our resume because the system will already divert it. They will never no human will ever put eyes on my resume because I will be diverted long before that happens.
So given what you've been through, what advice would you have to somebody who's listening to us now, who may have, I mean, the pink slips are going out in my former industry, media, it's over. I mean, Tegna just laid off a bunch of people. There was a marketing person from Cleveland. I love Cleveland, Ohio, because I lived there for a while. 30 years. Thank you. See you later. What advice do you give to those people?
Companies aren't loyal. HR is not your friend. Get into an industry where ageism isn't something that will hinder your progress or be replaced by AI. I would say either become an entrepreneur if that's a skill that you can go for, or get into the trades. Because trades are obviously, my husband is a master plumber, and thank God, because he is what has kept our house. Right. So I would just say to really, really think about what you're doing, because everything is being outsourced. Everything is being outsourced. And If you pick a career in tech, especially finance, I'm trying to think of other things, even things like creative marketing, that kind of stuff is all being outsourced now.
In a few minutes, we're going to take live questions from people who are joining the stream. And if you're watching us on X and you want to ask a question or make a comment, please put it in the chat. I want to read a comment from your YouTube channel from that successful video we were talking about, The Blunt Truth, 12 months after layoff. And this is right at the top. An individual who says, I was escorted out of the corporate world carrying my cardboard box to a parking lot about 12 years ago. I now work for a landscaping company as an office manager assistant to the owner at a 40% pay cut and love it. Yeah. Now you talk openly about the fear, and I can relate to this, the fear of the income variance from you're making six figures, then you're making bupkis, as they say in New York. And this individual's talking about 40% pay cut and loving it. What's that about?
So many people have talked about taking the pay cuts and being much happier because they don't have the corporate bullshit on their head anymore. They don't have a boss breathing down their neck. They don't have arbitrary deadlines. They don't have to work on stupid crap anymore. They just get to be themselves. And I think that is really resonating with a lot of people. I mean, I'm super stoked if I make $100 in a day driving Uber, and that's a far cry from where I was. But my mental health is better now. Yes, I'm worried about stuff and things.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy getting up in the morning and doing the driving and then coming home and doing the YouTube. I freaking love it. And no, I'm not making as much money. No, things are a lot more difficult. But damn it if I'm not happier.
Yeah,
By the way, I know this is really inappropriate, but am I doing okay? I mean,
I'm
really nervous. Okay.
So let me tell you why I insisted, first of all, Talkenomics is mine.
Yes.
And what you just talked about, I'm an LLC, and I funnel now anything. When I have a job, it goes to the LLC. And I was terrified for years about having to work for myself, but now it's all me. It's all mine. No one can tell me what to say. No one can tell me how to do it. And I get to meet people like you. And you had another video. This is when I fell in love with your channel, and you are amazing. It's the worst advice people get. And I made that little clip promoting this where you talk about, but I left one bit off because it was this one, not even 30-second soundbite is why I said, I've got to meet Sheila Hammond. So let's roll that. And then I want to find out where you get the funnies from.
And here's one that I don't get at all. Have you thought about writing a book? A book, like a whole book? Really? Sure. Let me just crank out a bestseller between Ubering, job hunting, and making these masterpiece YouTube videos. I'll call it Overqualified and Underestimated, the Midlife Job Search. Chapter 1, How to Live Off Ramen and Spite. A book? Really? Seriously?
Sheila, when I was in my 20s, I had a job in TV, and we're going back into the Stone Age. My annual salary was $10,300, and TV hasn't changed much. They still pay bupkis. But I defined success at that point when I got a job in South Bend, Indiana that paid $20,000 a year. I can now buy any orange juice I want, frozen concentrate or fresh squeeze. That was always my definition of success.
That's awesome.
And so when you said living on ramen and spite, I mean, but it is, I mean, these are the decisions some people have to make. Real quick, we have a comment. We're going to pull it up on the screen. This is from Kimmy, Kim Platich. That's where I'm at. I'm loving where my new career took me, even though it's a pay cut. And I think we can all relate to that. Look, I made good money when I was at Fox as a correspondent, and I left willingly. And my friends were like, oh my God. And there are times when I've thought, oh my God, what the hell did I do? But I have not looked back on that. Yes, it would be nice to be eating steak every week. Those days are gone, and probably my health is better for it. But there's just being able to do your own thing. How do you calm the fear of living on ramen and spite?
Wait, is that a thing? Can I calm that fear? I don't know if I can. And you know what? I'm not sure I want to necessarily, because that's kind of what keeps me going, right? I don't know if I want to calm that fear. I don't know how to answer that question, but going to Kim's comment, I just want to say, first of all, hi, Kim.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad that she's found her happy, even though she's taken a pay cut. And I think that's where I'm at, is that I just am still trying to really embrace this new life of mine. And every single day when I get comments on videos, people saying that I'm making a difference, that I've changed the way that they thought about something, that my video resonate, that is my new measure of success. It's not orange juice, although that's an excellent measure of success. I don't want to take that away from you, but really it's about, am I able to help people on this platform? And that's really why I started the YouTube channel, is to be able to help and to get that out. So
You,
I guess I embrace the fear. I
but
guess
you
that's a way
also,
of putting it.
you have a video, and I again, people, you gotta go to her YouTube channel. I'm telling you, it's laugh lines and life lessons, because you talked about imposter syndrome, and
Yes.
I don't know anyone on this planet who doesn't have, the Buddhists call it the 10,000 voices. We all have that voice that says, you're a fraud, you don't know what you're doing. And I shared with you that my mentor, this guy from the Bronx,
Yes.
Joe, said to me,
With his accent, yeah.
I'm going to do his accent. He says,
Yeah.
Adam, when those voices are telling you what a fraud you are and you don't know what you're doing, remind them, and I got bad breath. You got to laugh
Yes.
at them. And you talked about that. Where did you learn that?
To laugh at the voices.
We're all schizophrenic. No. Where did you, the
I'm on
ability?
meds for that. You want me to talk New Yorkie? Well, I'm on meds for that.
Yeah.
No, I just, my life with my mental health issues and all of that stuff, I have to constantly ask myself, where's the evidence? What's real, right? What is really happening right now? And even though I've got the voices in my head telling me that I'm a fraud, I'm a failure, all of these things, I have to look around and say, but what's the reality? What is the evidence really saying right now? And the evidence right now is saying that, yes, I am making a difference. I've got a small YouTube channel, but I'm helping people. I have food on the table. I am happy. I've got a life. I've got clothes on my back. So there's evidence all over the place that's saying that I am still successful. I've just changed my measure of success.
All right, let's do this. In just a second, we're going to take a break because I want to bring in the people who've come in so that they can ask you a question live. But I can't go to break without a little bit of a tease, because we've all made decisions in our moments of fear and perhaps craziness about how we're going to get to the next point. So here's the tease to keep watching the live stream. We're going to tell you about Sheila's OnlyFans journey, because she talked openly about this.
Now I've just started. Okay.
It's hysterical and it's family friendly. It's okay. But when we come back, we're going to hit that, and then we're going to take questions from the people who are streaming in. Sheila, thank you.
Okay.
We'll see you in we'll be on the other side of 60 seconds.
Okay.
Welcome back to Talkenomics. Our guest tonight, Sheila Hammond. We're talking about ways to survive a layoff, and she has certainly done that. We've got to go to a comment. We're getting comments on LinkedIn, we're getting comments on X, and getting comments on YouTube. So this recent comment is about the ability to confront those voices that tell us we're imposters. And Strategic Heart comments, that's a great superpower. So Sheila, you are now a superhero. I know your fans.
I always knew it.
Your fans are definitely big supporters. Before I take the first question, very quickly, you did the video, you did a live stream, and you talked about OnlyFans. You made $35. How'd you do that?
35. I monetized my toes. I tried to sell feet pics.
Look.
Yes, I did. I sold pictures of my feet. Yes,
I think it's just proof that there's a market for everything, as they say on Wall Street. So
they're granny feet. That's what we sold. Granny feet.
You got to do what you got to do. Let's bring in our first guest, and this is Wendy, who's joining us from San Francisco. Wendy, take the mic. You're on.
Hi there, Sheila.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your work. It's making me laugh.
Oh, good. I'm so nervous right now. So be really nice. Okay. Okay.
You're crushing it. So I am a recovering lawyer. And I've been through at least a semblance of what you went through, maybe not as direct. I was on a medical leave, and at the end of my leave, I was told that I was the most expensive employee that they had, and they weren't doing very well, and my deal needed to be renegotiated. The renegotiation was not appealing. So I'm now retired, which is fine, which is great. Mm-hmm. But my question to you is this. In my life, I'm going to give you a comment and then I'll do the question. In my life, have found that when I'm going through a difficult period or where something is upsetting me or making me angry, I make a joke out of it. Because it's always better to have a good story. It's always better to laugh than to cry. And so, that's been a coping mechanism I've had my entire life. However, there's always been a period of anger. And it feels to me as if you're doing the same thing that I do, which is you get through the anger and you get through the negative feelings by having levity about it. That's helping you to deal with your issue. Do you have a sense for you personally of how long you let the anger do its work before letting it go and moving to the next phase? Because you have moved to the next phase. It's very clear to me you seem to be dealing with your issues in a very, very healthy and forward-thinking manner. So is there, for you personally, a time period that you let the anger stew?
No, I would say that I have episodic anger. I would say that it doesn't just hit me and I don't just have it and deal with it and then I move on. It comes in waves. Mm-hmm. And even sometimes now, I'll be sitting there talking to my husband and I'll just be like, God damn, I'm pissed. I am so mad. I am so mad that I have to start all over after 30 years and I'm back where I was when I was freaking 16 years old. I am so mad. And then we talk it out and then we move on. Right. So it doesn't stay. It's not something that I think that I'm ever going to necessarily, maybe I'll get over it, but I can be mad if I want. And I do. And as far as the jokes, yeah, you've given away my secret. Yeah. I use jokes. That's my coping mechanism. But also I'm a delight. So, I'm freaking hilarious and I have to use that to my advantage. But I would say, Wendy, let yourself feel that anger. Just don't live there. Just don't live there. If you need to move on and say, you know what, I need to stop feeling this anger for a little bit. I'm not done feeling it, but I need to move on to something else. Do the thing. And then when it comes back, let yourself feel it. Just don't live there. Just don't live
Mhm.
there.
I mean,
Does that make sense? Oh,
Good
go ahead.
advice.
Wendy, don't go anywhere because I'm going to ask both of you a question. I'm going to go to Sheila first, but I shared this with Sheila in a phone conversation. I had that HR is not your friend moment, and I had that anger moment that Wendy just brought up. I had a job in Buffalo, New York, and I was told by senior management to beware someone who reported to me because, quote, she's out to kill us. 3 times I documented it. And I would ask HR, what am I supposed to do with this? And the moment for me when I realized I've got to get out of here was when HR responded, humble yourself to her. And I'd been told repeatedly, she's out to kill us. So that was the moment when I was like, got to fish or cut bait, and I cut bait. I'm out of here. At what moment for you, Sheila, I realized that they laid you off, but what moment did you realize, okay, I got to take control here? And Wendy, the same thing for you. When did you realize I got to leave the law firm? But Sheila first.
I would say it was probably a month or 2 after I was laid off, because that's when it started really hitting me that I might really be in trouble, that my career might really be over, that I really needed to put on my big girl panties, listen to some gangster rap, and frickin' figure it out. I had to figure it out because I didn't think that anything was going to change. I don't ever really remember feeling angry at being laid off. I feel angry that I can't get another job. I feel angry that my experience is just put out to pasture, right? So, does that answer your question?
It does.
Adam?
I think everybody has
Okay.
that you have that moment where it's like, I got to act. What about you, Wendy?
Well, so just a bit of background. In my lawyer life, I spent a lot of time doing labor and employment law, and I did it both on the defense side and on the plaintiff side. So I feel like I know a lot about how companies think, and I know a lot about how employees think. And sometimes a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So to you, Sheila, you're absolutely right. HR is there to protect the company. Um, Often, the people that are in HR, if they're good at it, will also be friendly, not your friend, but friendly, because it's important to be able to gain the confidence of the employees in order that you learn things that need to be fixed before there's a lawsuit.
Right.
So having that knowledge base, meant, Adam, that when I was on my leave, I pretty much concluded that there was a fairly significant likelihood that at the end of my leave, something similar to what actually happened was going to happen. So I had time to prepare for it. I had time to think about it. And so pretty much as soon as that message was delivered to me, it was pretty clear to me that I needed to move on.
All right.
Yeah.
Wendy, thank you very much. We're going to take another guest for Sheila. And this one, a little shy, so we do allow people to ask questions without showing their faces.
Of course.
But I believe we have Adrian wants to ask you a question. So welcome to Talkenomics, Adrian, and the mic is yours.
Adrian, is this the member of my community, Adrian, that goes, is the member?
Adrian, I think you might be on mute because we don't hear you.
Let's go to Betsy for now.
Okay. Adrian, we're going to come back to you. Betsy, are you there? Let's bring in Betsy. I think.
I scared them.
I'm wondering if my former employer is going to come after me after. There's Betsy.
Oh, who's that?
Betsy, go for it. You're up.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi. Thanks for talking to us tonight. I think you said something earlier that really, really grabbed me. I think you said something like, I don't want to lose the fear. Something like that. So how do you harness that into productive energy?
God, all I keep thinking is that I have pretty much lived in fear my whole life because of the anxiety issues that I have. And the way that I take control of it is to do action, either over educate myself about something or take some kind of action, because then I can prove to myself that I do still have some semblance of control. And I think maybe that's it. I'm afraid of, let's just say, losing my home. I'm not, but I was. So let's just say I'm afraid of losing my home. So what can I do to take control of the situation and make that not happen? Okay, well, I'm going to cut these bills out. I'm going to start driving for Uber. I'm going to, start, selling this service. I'm going to sell my motorcycle, right? So I took control. And I think that that's what helps me harness that fear and use it for good, not evil.
Thank you.
Well, the fear factor. Thank you, Betsy. The fear factor is 100% legitimate, Sheila, because as you've talked in some of your videos, those voices, it's about fear. It's about, keeping you frozen. And you used a term about starting over, but you've rephrased that and you've said starting differently.
Yes.
Explain for me and Betsy, when you say starting differently, how is that a different analysis of starting over?
Yeah. We're not starting over, because I've still got my whole life of experiences that I've done. So I'm going to take all of that with me and just start differently. I'm going to use what I know. And, like, it's kind of like with work situations, every job kind of, you take with you what you've learned on previous jobs. Right. And that's the way life is too. I'm taking everything that I've learned, and I know what doesn't work, what does work. And I'm just going to start differently. Right. I'm not going to start from the very beginning. It feels that way sometimes, but I'm not.
All right. Betsy, thank you for joining us. Do we have Adrian? Because I know we have a comment that we want to share with people. This one coming from Jonathan on YouTube, who writes, I was 55 when I was laid off in February 2021, had a side business that went full time. 1 hour later, I was glad that it happened. I think, we talked about this earlier, but there really is, for me, the Yiddish word kvel. When I see Talkenomics, who's watching doesn't matter. I created something. And that's what I think with you and your YouTube channel and what Jonathan's talking about, something that you created and that you give to the world and you can just be proud of, and you don't have corporate America telling you anything.
Corporate America is so broken. You don't realize how broken it is until you're out of it. And then when you're out of it, and something like what his comment just said, I'm out of it, and 1 hour later I was glad, right? Because there is just a weight that is off of you. 1 hour later, I was glad that it happened. Hell's yeah.
How do you determine the topics you're going to discuss in those videos? And I just got to say again, you got to watch the videos. Her YouTube channel is Laugh Lines and Life Lessons. My dyslexia I have dyslexia of the mouth too.
People,
but
yeah.
It's me. It's not, I would not change a thing about your YouTube channel. But how do you come up with the topics?
I read and answer every comment. So as I'm going through all of the comments, I see what people are asking. I see what's resonating with people. And that's really how I come up with it. I watch other YouTubers that are, quote, in my space, that kind of do the same thing that I do. And I kind of see what's resonating on their channels. I know that my community that I'm building over here is a little bit different than other communities, because they're my people, they're my tribe, right? That's kind of what is being built here. So I ask, we do member live streams. I ask, what kinds of things are interesting to you right now? What's on your mind? And I just kind of go from there. And I try to balance what we're talking about, work versus, like today's was about my mother. The last one was imposter syndrome, right? So I just try to balance everything. It's got to be about resilience.
How do you feel? I haven't watched the one about your mother yet, but you're very open and you're very personal. That's why I think you're successful, and why I think the 13,000 will be 130,000 in a very short time. How is it? How is it that what is it about you that allows you to be so open and talk about these things that a lot of us are we clam up?
Like I said, it's this feeling inside me that I need to share what's inside, because if I don't, what a waste of knowledge that I have. I have been through so much therapy and so much hard work. What a waste if I don't try to help somebody with it. So yeah, I think that's what it is. Also that I'm completely unfiltered and I'm an oversharer. So yeah. So the combination of all of those things, yeah, just let me just verbal vomit things on you, because I want you to know that you're not alone. That is so important, that people know that they're not alone.
That's what's resonating when I watch the videos and I read the comments. So many of us, I remember the experiences I've had since I left media. I went to a Wall Street firm. I signed an NDA. That's all we'll say. It's I had the HR issue with media. And you think, like, am I in some kind of bizarro avatar world? The things that are going on. At times I felt like I was getting gaslighted. I mean, it was just, you don't know how to make heads or tails of it. And then you showed me how to laugh at it. And that's what I think you're also showing other people.
It's absurd, isn't it?
Yes.
it's all just fucking absurd.
I am glad. That's the other thing. I'm glad. We're adults. I am so glad on your channel. I mean, I know that you have been cautious about using certain words, but it really is.
Fuck yeah. Shit.
Yeah, it's just like you just want to look in the mirror some days and go, what the fuck is going on here?
It is. And so many people are waking up to that. And unfortunately, I don't know if this is something cyclical that just happens with, the generation before us, the generation before that. We start waking up in our 50s and realizing what is really going on. And we start seeing things with old eyes, right? With these eyes that are like, whoa, I have seen some shit, done some shit. And what's going on right now is, woo.
Yeah. I mean, I admire young people, and I've worked with people in their 20s who are paid terrible wages, overworked, and I don't bemoan 20-year-olds who are getting the jobs that those of us in our 50s would like to have in some respects, because they work very hard. But I also appreciate, as you've pointed out, we have experience, and sometimes the experience, someone may not buy it, but it's still ours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's another reason why I want to share it, because I may not ever have a job again, but damn, that 20-year-old who's busting their ass, making no money, I have something that I can give to you that will help you move forward. And I'm going to go ahead and give that to you. I'm not going to gatekeep my information, right? I want to get it out there. And that's, I haven't worked on that channel in a long time to help the product owners. I'll pick that up again. Yeah. But it's still the same thing. I still have stuff that I can help you with. And that's why it's very strange. My audience is 30% as far as, I thought for sure all I was going to attract would be like elderly women. But I'm 50-50 men, and I run the gamut from 25 to 65, 30. It's crazy. How it's resonating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you, when I was in TV, they did a thing called Q ratings, and they would tell you who your demo was. I'll tell you when we're on a phone call who my demo was, because I always got a big kick out of that. But we have Adrian. We were able to make the connection with Adrian. Again, you don't have to show your face, but Adrian, the mic is yours. Welcome to Talkenomics.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We're working this time. That's so exciting. And I'm not being shy, Adam. I'm just in transit, as sometimes we are here in Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And Adam, I appreciate all your stories about television, because as I'm sure you remember, I'm a recovering journalist as well.
Yes.
And Sheila, you are doing a fantastic job. As somebody who's had to coach guests before, you are really hitting it out of the park. So good job.
Oh, thank you. Oh, goodness. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I have a question for you. It's not really for myself. I'm going to ask on behalf of a very large community here in Washington and abroad the international development community, if you've been following the news here in Washington, has sort of taken a turn, a little bit unexpected, but we have about 3,000 international development professionals in Washington and overseas who, because of some shifts in government, will probably be out of a job in the next couple of weeks. These are people across the spectrum, first in their career jobs, end of their career jobs, lots of people in between. Even the HR people, I think, will be out on their ear pretty soon here too. So Sheila, what is your best advice to these people who are trying to triage their lives right now? I think in a lot of cases, they're shocked to find themselves in this position. I think a lot of these people have had the same kind of job or the same career path for quite a long time. Surely they didn't expect to end up in this situation. So what do you say should their next steps be? And how would you really counsel anybody who's kind of going through a shock scenario that's similar?
For me, my advice, the first step would always be to let yourself grieve. Let yourself mourn what you've lost. Let yourself mourn the person that you were, that you may or may not ever be again. And then put on your big girl panties, listen to some gangster rap, and figure it out. I mean, you don't want to live there, but you absolutely have to mourn that part of your life. And, some people are the kinds of people that they'll be able to pick up and put some things together and cobble out a life and be an entrepreneur and do the thing that they've always wanted to do, whether it's teach guitar lessons or, I don't know, become a professional dog walker. And then there's other people who are going to be like, okay, I need a real job, right? I need benefits. I've got a family, and whatever spectrum that you're on, again, my first bit of advice would be it's okay to mourn what you've lost. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. Just don't live there, because then that's when you get stuck.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And coming from journalism, we're probably a little bit more accustomed to sudden shock firings or giant changes overnight. And I don't think
just to throw this out there, but I started my career in radio, just to let you know. My degree is actually in journalism. My name was Carrie Love, baby, because Carrie's gonna love you all night long. That's my radio. Yeah.
Love line.
I'm a recovering
journalist,
DJ, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. It's a rough business.
Yeah, we were bought and sold like 6 times in 6 months. It was crazy the amount of turnover that industry has.
By the way, next week our topic is I want to call it, media is dying. It's evolving. We haven't come up with a name for it yet, but we have on a former anchor from New York City who's going to be on, and hopefully a comedian, Kareth Foster, who started in journalism and then decided to hell with this. But that's next week. Hey, Adrienne, thank you very much.
No, of course.
Adrienne, thank you. I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sheila, I've got another guest on, and I've got to, just be honest about this. Our next guest is one of my closest friends, and it was because of Mitch that I found you. When I was telling Mitch about Talkenomics, and he'd been encouraging me for years, do this. He said, you got to take a look at this woman's YouTube channel. And so he sent me your link, and that's when I saw the video where you talk about, bad advice. And that's where I saw living on a diet of ramen and spite. And I just thought, oh yeah. So I want to bring Mitch in because it's because of Mitch that I'm able to introduce you to the people who follow Talkenomics. So Mitch, thank you. It's good to see you, buddy, by the way.
Hi, Pumpkin. That's like such a great little introduction there. I'm like feeling all, I'm schwitzing. Isn't that what we say? I'm schwitzing.
Mike is yours, Mitch.
Well, it's kind of, your content is kind of up my alley because I've been working in corporate for a long time. I'm a creative director. I started at Deloitte 100 years ago as a PowerPoint designer and worked my way up to becoming a creative director and running a department now and working on brand and the whole shebang. So a lot of the things you talk about and the sort of the waves you've had to ride in your career is very similar. I tell my team when I first join a company, it's like, we got to get you portfolio pieces now. because I don't know if I'm going to keep you, because I have lost so many of my teams in my job. And actually, one of my questions for you, I have a few actually. One of my questions for you was, one of your videos recently was about outsourcing, and I'd worked for an outsourcer for many years, and I thought your take on that was particularly insightful, because you are correct. The support is never at the same quality. It just cannot be. When I was watching the video, I was wondering, though, your thoughts on specifically around outsourcing and how many companies are thinking that's a solution. Do you ever have like a thought of like what you would counter that decision if leadership were talking about, hey, we should outsource this? How would you respond to that?
I have responded to that. That's been, part of, because earlier in my career, when we first started outsourcing so many things, I started realizing this is not working at all. So when I've heard, hey, we're going to outsource this project, or we're going to outsource this design aspect, or whatever we're doing, I have come back and said, well, have you thought about the communication differences? Have you thought about the time differences? Have you thought about the fact that if our website goes down, it's owned by someone in India, and we're not going to be able to get it back up until the next day? I mean, they don't think about these things. So many corporations, they think that it's magic. They think, oh my gosh, look at, we can outsource this and save all this money. And they don't think about the people that are actually here still doing the work, the ones that actually care about the product. We have to take on the brunt of half-baked solutions. So, yeah,
that's my experience too, is there still has to be some sort of a bridge between, and if there's not, it's not like, what my phrase is, magic gnomes and elves do not come out of the woods and make your dreams come true. It's like,
she's going to use that.
I know, wouldn't that be great?
yeah it's like I've had that going on in my current job right now, as we're having to sort of level set and say, hey, yeah, I mean, it's okay though. I mean, I've written this out. Actually, my other question for you is, well, there's two things. I've been working on a leadership program. I'm using my team as guinea pigs and developing their leadership skills, because when I joined this company, my team, all of them had been hired as interns. And when I got there, they had all been hired full time, but they were still operating like interns. And so I wanted to get them leveled up, so that, you guys have been here for 5, 6, 7 years and you're acting like interns. And so getting them leveled up. So, and then beyond that, then I just launched my own YouTube channel. So my question for you is, how did you get your YouTube channel up, and how's that going for you?
So first, let me back up and say that the fact that you're trying to help your subordinates, your direct reports, whoever you want to call them, level up, that makes you an amazing manager. And that's very, very rare in corporate America. So loving you.
That's why I'm wanting to do this whole, it's going to become a book. It's going to become a YouTube channel. And it's because what I'm finding is this: Gen Z and second wave millennials do not respond to the type of leadership you and I experienced early in our careers. And they're not going to. And creating this generational warfare does nothing but drive everybody apart. It's pointless, and we don't progress forward. Eventually, these young people will be running these companies. And so for me, it's like, this is the seed I can plant and do my little bit to sort of help at least get a generation of my little microcosm of leaders out there to sort of spread the joy, if it will. But yeah, but at any rate,
that's amazing.
Again, yeah, thank you. But yeah, again, your YouTube channel, how did you get that launched, and lessons learned along the way?
Yeah, so that could be a whole other chitty chat in itself, but I would say be consistent, which is something that you're going to hear all the time. Be consistent, keep uploading. Every time I launch a video, I watch it over and over again to see what I could have done better. I read all the comments because I want to see what people are saying. I actually hired a coach. I don't know if I can say the name of the company. There was someone that did a video about me because I used their service. I hired a coach from that place. If you want to investigate it, you can do that. I'll tell Adam after.
I'll share it with you,
I got
Mitch.
a coach. Yeah, I got a
Yeah,
coach, and this coach, it was just great to have someone bounce ideas off of. This coach is actually someone who is in YouTube and has a successful YouTube channel. So it really, when I started meeting with her, I was at 1,500 subscribers, and that was 3 months ago. And now I'm at 13,000. So
wow.
just getting that input and having another set of eyes on it, I think has made all the difference for me.
Okay. That's good.
And
That's
just
good
don't
advice.
stop.
Yeah.
You will find your people. You will find your tribe.
Can I just?
People want to hear what you have to say. I swear they do.
Sheila.
Yeah.
This is about Sheila, but Mitch is being very modest here. He has recreated himself and started differently so many times. He's not sharing with you how successful he is, but when his YouTube channel is up and going, he's a guest on Talkenomics because his story is very similar to yours in so many ways, and he picks himself up. And I think that's the lesson for the people who are younger than us. It really is about resilience. Mitch, I'll get the names and numbers for you from Sheila after the program, and I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I think with Sheila, there's one more thing with your content. I think this is probably for me too. It's just for younger people in particular, but really anybody who's sort of riding this wave of layoff and what have you. I think we're all at a point now where we have to have second streams of income.
Oh,
we just
gosh.
have to. We have.
Oh yes.
We can't.
I wish
rely
I would have
on-
thought about that a long time ago.
Yep.
I wish I would have thought about that forever ago. And I wanted to also
Yeah.
say that I agree with you about the whole, pitting the generations against each other. I think it's fun and funny to be like, oh yeah, I'm Gen X, I'm a latchkey kid, and, oh, you millennials are so entitled. It's all fun and games, but I feel horribly for the kids that are coming up right now because they are experiencing a whole new reality that we did not have to experience.
Right.
I
we
am
had
right
mentors.
there with you.
We had
right
human
here.
beings mentoring. I can name for you. I talked about
Yeah.
Joe from the Bronx, but before Joe, there was Christine Davidson. I mean, we all have these people who steer us and teach us. Mitch, I'll be on the phone with you a little bit later, but thank you. It's good to see you.
Okay.
Yes, it was so nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
It's so nice to meet you, Sheila.
Thank you.
I love your channel.
Thank you
Keep
for
watching,
loving me.
so.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sheila, real quick, I'm going to keep saying laugh lines and life lessons on YouTube. You got to go to Sheila's channel. We've got to wrap up because I can only afford the 1 hour. But I do want to ask you as we part. People who are getting the pink slips now, they're going out. I got buddies in media. They just got laid off today. You've said it already this hour, but once again, what would you say to them? Because they're in the shock mode right now, I think.
Let yourself grieve. Let yourself understand that you may be due for a pivot. It might be the time for you to take that passion project that you've always wanted to do and do the thing, right? Everything's changing and nobody knows where we're going to be in a year, in 6 months, tomorrow. So let yourself grieve that job, that life. Just don't live there. I can't emphasize that enough because if you live there, you get stuck and then you get depressed and then you get anxious and all of those things start piling up on you. You got this. I know that you've got this. I know that we've all got this. We're all a freaking bunch of scrappy people that can put things together and make it work. And you just haven't found your spot. And you will.
Jonathan St. John had a comment that is appropriate at this moment to what you just said, and it was amen. Absolutely. Sheila Hammond, this has been a thrill for me. I'm glad I got to meet you, and we're not done yet because you and I are going to have a phone call after this. But thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on Talkenomics. Remember, next week we have got Ken Rosado, the former WABC anchorman, very popular. We're going to talk about what's happening with media along with Kareth Foster, we hope. But until then, Wednesdays at 7 p.m., Talkenomics. And Sheila, I'm going to say it one more time. Laugh lines and life lessons. You got to check out her YouTube channel. Good night, everybody. Be well.